Let us now proceed to take a look at a Vartikam, which in the Mahabhashyam is under the Sutram 232 Karmani Dvitiya. The Siddhanta Kaumudi, this same Vartikam, is under the Sutram which we just studied, 1448, Upanvadhyang Vasaha. This Vartikam prescribes the Dvitiya Vibhakti, but there is a subtle difference between the Dvitiya Vibhakti prescribed by the Sutram 232 Karmani Dvitiya and the Dvitiya Vibhakti prescribed by this Vartikam. This Vartikam prescribes what is called as the uppada-vibhakti. What is the uppada-vibhakti? It's a case affix added to a word on account of the presence of another word requiring the addition. And this another word is not possessing any verbal activity. On the other hand, 232 Karmani Dvitiya prescribes a Karaka Vibhakti, a case affix governed by a verb or a verbal derivative. So for example, we saw Harim Bhajati. Here Bhajati is the verb and Hari gets the designation Karma by the Sutram 1449, Karturipsita Tamang Karma. And then by 232 Karmani Dvitiya, Hari takes the second case affix. It's a two-step process. First we go to the Adhikara of Karake, which as we know runs from 1423 to 1455, and get the appropriate Karaka Sanya assigned, and on the basis of that Karaka Sanya we then assign the Vibhakti by a Sutram or a Vartikam from the third quarter of the second chapter of the Ashtadhyayi. So that is how a Karaka Vibhakti is assigned. So we have a verb or a verbal derivative, and in connection with that we have a Karakam, a participant in the action. This Karakam gets the appropriate Karaka Sanya, and then we come to the third quarter of the second chapter of the Ashtadhyayi and assign a Vibhakti based on that Karaka Sanya. So this is how a Karaka Vibhakti is assigned. On the other hand, a Upapada Vibhakti is assigned directly in the third quarter of the chapter 2 of the Ashtadhyayi without going to the Adhikara of Karake. It is assigned on the basis of a Upapadam. Upapadam is what? Upa Samipe Ucharitam Padam. Upapadam, a word which is close by. And this word is not possessing any verbal activity. So that is why there is no Karaka label assigned. We directly assign a Upapada Vibhakti using a Sutram or a Vartikam from the third quarter of chapter 2 of the Ashtadhyayi. As mentioned earlier, no matter what we do, the final Vibhakti assignment has to be by Sutram or a Vartikam in the third quarter of chapter 2. That part is common. But in the case of Karaka Vibhakti, we have to first go and get the Karaka Sanya from the Adhikara of Karake, which starts from 1423 and goes to 1455. While in the case of a Upapada Vibhakti, we directly come to the third quarter of chapter 2. Now one note here is that there is a paribhasha which says Upapada Vibhakti Karaka Vibhaktir Baliyasi, which means that the force of a Karaka Vibhakti is greater than that of a Upapada Vibhakti. So when there is a clash between these two, the Karaka Vibhakti is Baliyasi. It has greater force. For example, Shivan Namaskaromi. Here what is happening is that Sutram 2.3.16, which we'll be studying shortly, comes and says that since Namaha is present as a Upapadam, therefore Chaturthi Vibhakti should be used with Shiva. But then 2.3.2 comes and says that Shiva has the Karma Sanya because it is the object of the verb Karomi. So therefore Shiva should get the Dvitiya Vibhakti. So now we have a clash. But the Paribhasha resolves this conflict on the basis of the fact that 2.3.16 assigns a Upapada Vibhakti while 2.3.2 assigns a Karaka Vibhakti. So 2.3.2 has greater force, therefore Shiva takes the Dvitiya Vibhakti, we get the form Shivam. If we did not have the verb Karomi, then of course we would say Shivaya Namaha. Nothing would stop 2.3.16 in that case. Okay, let us now take a look at this Vartikam in detail. This Vartikam says Ubhasar soho karya diguparyadishu trishu dvitiyam reditanteshu tatonyatra drishyate. What is the meaning of this amreditanteshu? Recall that we have been to the Adhikara of Sarvasya Dve, which runs from 8.1.1 to 8.1. We have recently studied the Sutram 8.1.4 Nitya Vipsayoho. Now here 8.1.2 Tasya Param Amreditam defines the term Amreditam. So Amreditam is the second part of a duplicated term. Remember that in this Adhikara of 8.1.1 to 8.1, an entire term is duplicated. And and the second half of that duplicated form is called amreditam. Now our Vartikam here says amreditanteshu means ending in amreditam, which essentially means krita dvirvachaneshu, that is terms which have undergone duplication, because to have a amreditam at the end, it implies that the term has undergone duplication. That's why it's said here that amreditanteshu equals krita dvirvachaneshu. Okay, the entire meaning of this Vartikam is a second case affix, ditiya vibhakti, meaning out or shas, is used following a pratipadikam nominal stem co-occurring, means occurring with ubhayataha or sarvataha or dhik, or the duplicated terms uparyupari, adhyadhi or adhodhaha, and anyatrapi drishyate, means second case affix may be seen being used in other instances also. As already we mentioned, the duplication in uparyupari, adhyadhi and adhodhaha is by the Sutram 817 uparyadhyadhasaha samipye. So duplication only takes place if samipyam is intended, means there is closeness or proximity. Okay, let's look at the examples now. First one is Ubhayataha Krishnang Gopaha, cowherds on both sides of Shri Krishna. Ubhayataha means on both sides. Because of the presence of Ubhayataha as the Upapadam, Krishna takes the Ditya Bhakti, in this case Ditya Ekvachanam and we get the form Krishnam. Similarly, Sarvataha Krishnam, on all sides of Shri Krishna. Sarvataha means on all sides, and that is what governs the second case affix taken by Krishna. Third example is Dhik Krishna Bhaktam, shame on the non-devotee of Shri Krishna. Dhik means shame on, fie on, and because of the presence of Dhik, Krishna Bhakta takes Ditya Vibhakti. Then we have Uparyupari Lokam Harihi, Lord Vishnu is just above the world. Uparyupari, this duplication has taken place by 817, which requires the meaning of samipyam, which means closeness. That is why we say Lord Vishnu is just above the world. Similarly, adhyadhi lokam, just above the world, and adhodho lokam, just below the world. Now the Vartikam says tatonyatra drishyate, which means sometimes there may be upapadam other than these which we have gone through, which may also dictate a second case affix. For example, in the Gita, Rite pitvan bhavishyanti sarve yevasthitaha pratyanikeshu yodhaha, even without you, all those warriors arrayed in the enemy's camp shall cease to be. Of course, famous verse from the Gita. So here, because of rite, meaning without, we have the Dvitya Vibhakti in Tvam. So even though rite is not mentioned specifically in the Vartikam, we still see examples like these where a term like rite, which is not mentioned in the Vartikam, may also dictate a second case affix.